Sorry, I'm new to this, so I'm trying to. Okay, are we good? Okay. First, thank you for letting me do the call tonight and joining me. I'll start first by saying I'm super nervous, so I'm hoping that everything is just going to kind of flow. If you can see all of my notes right now, I kind of look like a hot mess. So I wanted to start by talking about personal development. One, it's one of our vital behaviors, and it's so very important to do every single day. So I know when I first started as a coach, personal development was something that I read consistently. I had read some self-help books in the past thinking, oh, it's just going to change all of the bad stuff that I wanted to change about myself. I never really knew how to apply it to my everyday life. I didn't know how to apply it when I started as a coach. I could listen to it, I could read it, but it never really made sense because I didn't know how to make it work for myself. So I've really tried lately and over the last couple of months to really like let it soak in and find out what people say that we are reading and that we are hearing and how to apply it to what we do as a coach and what we, how we are as people. So I don't know if you guys have ever had that sort of problem. And maybe I'm one of the few that is like, I hear what you're saying and I see what you're doing, but what do I do? Tell me, like, I need a step-by-step, I need a to-do list, I need to know what to do. And for everybody that I've listened to and read so far, I've listened to things numerous times. I have to go back and really let it sink in, and I have to take notes. And I can't listen to it when I'm falling asleep at night because I have to pay attention. And one of my favorite podcasts to listen to is Hal Elrod. He is the author of Miracle Morning, and I'm about halfway through that book right now. I love it. I highly recommend it to anyone. If you're looking for something to read that's, not on your list, I highly recommend that. And also, I listen to his podcast. I listen to them on the way to work in the morning. They generally run between 30 and 45 minutes, or I listen to them on my way home from work. It kind of is a de-stressor, or it pumps me up to deal with the crazies that I deal with all day. So with that being said, on his show, he interviews lots of different entrepreneurs, different people that have really been successful in their lives. And I tried to take what he says and how he interviews his people in books that I've read, and I've come up with two main points of how personal development works for people who are successful. First is your mindset. One thing that I've heard quite a bit from Hal is when we are born with unlimited potential. But somewhere along the lines of our lives, we resort to just being mediocre. Whether that's the way we were raised or different life experiences, other people's expectations of us. I know when I post things on social media sites, my mom cringes because she's like, you're putting everything out there. You know, you're putting so many personal details out there, but their generation and our generation is so completely different that it's like I struggle with, oh, am I putting too much out there? Oh, I kind of have to because I have to make it work. So, you know, and that's just my mom's experience. I was brought up not talking about money. So for me to make a Facebook post about money, here again, it's like, ooh, yikes. You know, my mom's going to read that and she's going to think, oh, you shouldn't be putting that out there. So it's like, you know, I think so many people are brought up, and not saying that they were brought up wrong by any means. It's just you have to undo everything that you've learned in the past. And a lot of the way that you were brought up to think, you have to change that. And so you have to think in your mind, you know, when something comes up, or you see somebody that's super successful, and you think, huh, there's no way I can do that. You automatically create a separation to that person in your mind, or, oh, I can't do that. You know, they had a rough life and they want it more, or I had a rough life. You know, there's no way that I could lose that much weight, or, you know, they had it easy, or they were brought up with a lot of money. Of course, they have the time to do everything. So whenever you see somebody successful, you think, automatically you have that separation in your mind. Your mind is not in a good spot. So I really had to, and I do that, and I'm sure a lot of people do, but I think I've had to learn how to like take a step back. My first thought is still a lot of times negative. And I think, okay, let me think about that again and reevaluate the situation. And I think over time, when you learn to have more of a positive reaction, either people or situations and things like that, I think it just becomes more natural then, and then it's just easier. You don't have to take a step back and rethink a situation. So that's kind of my first point is, you know, your mind has to be in a good spot. And if you know yourself well enough to think, my first thought is always negative, take a step back and rethink about it. You know, reevaluate it in your mind and approach it in a new light. I think too that a lot of people in general, and not everybody, but I think a lot of people in general are just really negative. And I don't think that they need to be, but I think that life experience, again, personal opinions kind of cloud your own judgment in order to look at things in a different way. I would have never thought of being a health and fitness coach online. I wish I would have thought about it before I had thousands of dollars in student loans. I think it's just there are so many options out there that we don't think about because here again we were brought up a certain way. And I also think that we all have some sort of fear of failure. We play it safe. We do things that are safe because we don't want to take the leap into doing something. I'm going to be an online health and fitness coach, or I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to do this. And we have this fear of failure. But from my own personal experience, I have been a business owner in the past. I own a massage therapy business, and I had turned it into a little spa, and it didn't work for many, many, many reasons. But it didn't work, and I completely felt like a failure. I felt like if I couldn't make that business work, how on earth am I going to make this business work? I clearly don't know how to manage people. I don't even know what I'm doing. If I did, why didn't it work? So I've had to kind of overcome that whole failing situation, I guess you could say, when it came to this business. And I try to look at it now as I failed forward. I didn't fail and lose every piece of ambition I've ever had. I didn't fail and lose sight of what I could still have in my life. I didn't fail and think it's the end of the world. So failure is not, it's not the end of the world. Everybody's going to fail. People fail at little things. People fail at big things, and they survive. Sorry, I lost my thought. Sorry. Okay, back on track. I also kind of look at it as, you know, when you want to ask somebody for their opinion, or if you're looking for advice, I tend to go to somebody who has some life experience. I tend to go to somebody who has dealt with so many situations, and either they've excelled at them or they have failed and they've learned something from them. I wouldn't go and personally ask somebody that has never done one single thing in their life and ask them for business advice. Or I would never go and ask somebody single who has never been married, you know, for marriage advice. You don't go and ask a whole lot of people that don't have kids for, you know, kids advice. So when it comes to failing and being in a negative spot, try and think that you have your own journey and you have had your own life, and those failures shouldn't hold you back. And they shouldn't shift your mindset into not being able to do things that you want to do and not, you know, reaching those goals. I think the part that Corey shares all the time about sharing our story, we all have a story. We all have a life's journey so far under our belt. We've made it this far. You know, people will find that fascinating. People want to be able to relate to you. They can't relate to somebody perfect. They can't relate to somebody that says, well, you know, I had a ton of money growing up. I didn't really have to work, you know, so I'm just kind of doing this on the side. No, I can't relate to that. Can you guys relate to that? I mean, I want to know somebody that they've had to work really hard. They have another job. They're trying to make it all work, and they did. That, you know, that's who I want to learn from. And I think, you know, failure is not a reason to stop. So the way you have to shift your mind is just keep going. My second main point would be making goals. So your mind has to be right and in a good place. And secondly, you have to be able to set goals. One thing that I've heard on all of the personal development books that I've read and people that I listen to, they all have said one thing, and successful people have the ability to set goals and achieve them. And that's so important because success builds confidence, and each time you set a goal and you reach it, your confidence gets bigger and bigger and better, and that just makes you want to set more goals and bigger goals, and you just have to keep going with that. But you have to keep in mind too that when you set a goal, you have to be sure that it's achievable. Otherwise, you know, it's just a dream. I want to make $1 million. Who wouldn't? That's great. But when are you going to reach $1 million? You're going to go 2 years from now and you won't have reached $1 million. Maybe you have. That's awesome. But then you're going to get discouraged. So keep your goals you can have big dreams, but your goals, keep in mind that they should be short, or give yourself, a certain time frame that you want to reach it. Then that builds your confidence. That helps with your mindset. And then you'll want to reach a bigger goal and a bigger goal. I heard something cool, actually, it was this morning. The quote was, work expands to the time allotted. So I think about that when I am scheduling, like, what I want to do each day and how much I need to fit in, and when I'm going to fit it in. Well, that completely makes sense. When I only have 20 minutes, I'm not going to be able to reach out to people. I'm not going to be able to get into all my groups and make posts. I'm not going to be able to add new people. So I thought that was a really cool quote. Work expands to the time allotted, and it makes sense, and it makes sense for your goal deadline too. If you are only giving yourself 30 days to reach a goal, well, you're going to be busting butt for those 30 days to try and get it done. You also have to be able to visualize it. Can you really see yourself making $1 million like in the next 2 years? Or can you see yourself maybe, matching your income and then some? Things that you can't truly visualize, it's going to be hard to be able to get a grasp on that and go for it. So be sure that you can set a goal that's achievable and also visualize it. You also have to make sure that it's going to be worth your effort. What's your 30-day goal going to get you? What's your next year goal going to get you? You want to match your income by next year? Well, heck yeah, that's going to be worth your effort, because then maybe the following year you would be able to, quit the job that you're doing now. Or maybe if you set that goal for 6 months, then maybe you can match that, and then, yeah, that's absolutely worth your effort. And it doesn't even have to be about money. It could be about weight. It could be about, sometimes my goal is get through the day without pulling my hair out. It's like, my goal is getting through the day and getting everything done on my to-do list. So it doesn't have to be super big, but know that it's going to be worth your effort. If I get all of this done and I work out, I know that by next week, I'm going to be feeling really good. I'm going to be back into my routine, things like that. So I've also heard that one of a good thing to do is share it, like share what your goal is. But then I've also heard, kind of on the flip side, to not share it with everyone. Share it with people who are going to hold you accountable. Like, that's what I love about our team. We are all in it we're all in it together, I guess I should say. We are all motivating each other. We are all on the same team. We're all going to pick each other up, when we have bad days. So I think that's great. And I also think that, share it with people who will hold you accountable. Like my husband, I told him I'd like to match my income by next year. Well, I better get my butt going, because, he's going to hold me to that. I spend a ton of time, working the business, and I'm sure I could be doing other things like laundry. But what fun is that? Not fun. So he will hold me accountable to making sure I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. Hold me accountable to drinking my shakes every single day. Otherwise, we get 2 packs sitting in my kitchen, and there, he's going to hold me to that. Drink my shakes. And also, I always try and keep in mind, too, that our life is more of a marathon. It's not a sprint. yes, sometimes we are in a hurry to make a certain amount of money or lose a certain amount of weight, but then what? Try and enjoy the journey and try to enjoy everything that you're picking up as you go through life and the experiences, and try not to be so much in a rush just to get to, the end. Because I think that will just make us all better people, as a whole and as you as a person, to let everything soak in as much as possible. There was one other thing I wanted to mention too. I also heard another acronym this morning, and when it comes to reaching your goals, the word focus, which obviously you want to focus on your goals, but it stands for follow one course until success. And I thought that was pretty cool. I'm actually going to write that down and put it on my computer at work too and here at home. But that makes so much sense when it comes to our business here with Beachbody, because I think sometimes we just get so overwhelmed with everything that we have to do that we just don't do anything. And I think that sometimes we get too many irons in the fire. I know I do. Sometimes I think, oh my gosh, I'm in so many groups and I have to work out and I have to do my vital behaviors and I got to focus on myself, and then, and then before I know it, the day's over and I haven't done anything. So I think if you're having a hard time with your time management, or you're having a hard time, getting a grip on maintaining a schedule, which I know that we all still do, I think if you have one course of action in your mind, like if you think, I just want to hit SD5, or I just want to get my SD points each month, whatever the number is, it doesn't have to be 5, it could be more than 5, but then just focus on that and everything else will come. Or if you know that you want to sign one coach each month, then focus on signing one coach each month, and I think your SD points will come. Everything's going to follow along. If you're going for your SD points, well then you will probably get coaches out of that. But instead of trying to I need to get my SD points, I need to get to Emerald, I need to get so many coaches, and trying to plan your posts, all around that, stick with one thing and maybe do it for, 2 months at a time or 1 month at a time. Make your whole focus around challenge groups and just go for your SD points. And from there, your coaches will come. Or people will see what you're doing and coaches will come, before that. Or I follow Bonnie Engel, I think is her name. I don't know if any of you do, but all of her posts every day are based around the coaching opportunity. And I bet she still runs challenge groups, and I bet she still does all of that. But I've never, in probably the 6 months that I have followed her, I've never seen a post that she makes about challenge groups. It's all about how her life has changed from the coaching opportunity, and she's not saying, hey, come be a coach under me. She's showing the benefits. She's showing her lifestyle. She's showing everything that the coaching opportunity has provided to her. And I think that's really great. I think instead of trying to get so many, like I said, irons in the fire and trying to make each of those goals each month, pick one thing and just focus on that and see it through. And I know Corey had mentioned too, and I've heard other times, maybe Kelly has said it, you will excel at one of the vital behaviors. Probably not all of them. The fact that you can get them all in is great, but you'll probably only really excel at one. I'm still trying to figure out which one I'm excelling at. Haven't decided yet. The fact that I can get 3 in a day is a success for me. But maybe that would be a good area of focus too, instead of trying to do so much, and focus on that. I think that's all that I have. It's kind of a short call, I'm sorry. But does anybody have any questions for me?
I just wanted to say that I think you did a great job. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Oh, there, I can hear you.
Hello. Okay, sorry, I had to switch to my headphones. You did a great job on the call. I think you did awesome.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I related to a lot of the things that you said, especially the one where you said we get so overwhelmed with everything that we just don't do anything. Like, that happens to me a lot, where I'm just like, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, and then I'm like, at the end of the day, and then I get nothing done. And I'm like, that was pointless. But yes, it was very good information and very good call. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm the same way. I mean, some days I think, okay, well, I'll do it, on my lunch break, or I'll do it this afternoon when I have a few minutes. I'll check in from my phone, and then I think, oh, I got 4 groups to check into, and okay, well, I'll do it later tonight. And then later tonight turns into, oh my gosh, life happens at home, and then oops, I'll start again tomorrow. So it's tough, but I think we're all.
Yeah, and when you said like how to apply things, like figuring out how to apply your personal development to your life. Because I did Shalene's 30-day push, and yeah, I didn't. I just didn't know how to apply it, and it just didn't do anything for me. And it's not that it's a bad program or anything. It's just learning how to make it work for you.
Right, absolutely. I still struggle with that. I'm the type of person, and that's one thing I like about Hal Elrod. So if you ever get the chance, I highly recommend his podcast or the Miracle Morning book. He really breaks it down. I need somebody to really. Sorry. I need somebody to break it down in layman's terms. Say, Lori, this is what you need to do, and then I can follow along. And he is really good about some of the people he interviews. They're fantastic and they give great information, but he can really break it down, and I can think, oh, so that's what I have to do. Oh, well, that doesn't seem so hard. So that's why I try and think the mindset. Yeah, get your mind in the right place, and if it's not, take a step back and think about it again. And then the whole goal, reaching goals and stuff. Just kind of the nitty gritty of doing that first, and then work on the bigger stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? I really appreciate.
Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I really appreciate everybody making the call tonight. I appreciate your time.
You did a really awesome job. I commend you, because I think it's really hard for all of us to do something like this. So awesome job. But I did want to say too quickly, I know we're kind of running out of time, but what you were saying about people getting really overwhelmed, the one thing that for months that I've been struggling to do is to kind of get everything together. And I've asked people, I've asked advice, I've tried to talk to people about power hour tips, what they do, what their schedule is and things. And it's been crazy because I hear about these power hours, so I've never known what to do, what it is, anything. I don't know if anyone else has this struggle. But I was just lost, completely lost, not a clue. Then I don't know if anyone else saw it or took a look at Illuminate and looked at the photo. Kelly put her, I think it's 9 tasks that she does in her power hour. And she puts the times down and, sets a clock and then just does stuff and does it as quickly as possible to get through stuff. And it helped me to better manage, like even on my lunch break from work, just sit there and go through it, put headphones on, set the clock, and then go through 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, and do each task. And in the last couple of days since having that call, like I've reached out to so many people, talked to so many people, added so many people, and it's been like a huge help because it just put everything in perspective for me. So I just thought, if anyone else is struggling, I think I mentioned it in our group anyways, but definitely check her list out. It really put it in perspective for me.
Okay, I'll have to do that. I didn't see that. So, yeah, I'll be anxious to check it out. Thank you. That'll be great. Anybody else? Okay. Well, thank you again. And see you guys in a couple weeks.